G'day everyone. I thought I'd pop in and talk about a really interesting rumour. I saw this a couple of days ago, but I've actually been so busy I couldn't get onto it, so I thought I'd discuss it with you today. Remember recently I did discuss with you that I thought the next camera that would be announced would be the new a7S3? Well, according to Sonyalpha rumours, it looks like it may be a new a7000. I'm going to switch over to this so you can have a look at it. Now, the exciting thing here is that they're saying a7000, that they don't actually know, but looking at the specifications that they're talking about with this camera, there's no way known it's going to be just an A700. So I think they're probably on the cards here that it is going to be something like an A7000. Because the interesting thing is they're saying that this is going to be a mini A9. Now, the reason why I think they may be doing this is because the new X-T3 is going to come out fairly soon, and I'll show you that in a minute, the specifications or the rumour specifications on that. But it's a really interesting challenge here. So whether this is going to be, say, an answer to what Nikon has done, whether it's also going to try and combat what Fuji are going to be doing with their new camera as well. So it's a really interesting scenario. So basically what they're saying is that it probably will be going to have the Z-type battery, and if that's the case, that's going to mean that the camera body will actually be larger here than what the A6500 is now. It has to be to fit that battery in. So I'd say the grip is definitely going to be a little bit different, or whether they're going to change the body completely. They're still not saying whether it's going to have an articulating screen or anything yet, but there's a couple of interesting things that they said that this might get. They're actually saying that it may get 4K 60p, just like the rumoured X-T3, and I'll show you that in a minute. They're still saying they can't confirm it 100% reliably yet, but it could be coming this week or next week. But it's a really interesting actual scenario about which way Sony may go with this camera, and if they are going to push out a really high end. They're also saying it's going to be basically like a mini A9, which is going to be 20 frames per second. It's going to shoot 4K 60p. And this is going to put me in an interesting scenario, because if this is announced and it does have that, I'm not 100% certain whether I'd even need an A7S3, and this is why I might wait to just see if this is announced and released. I may wait to see what the A7S3 has before I decide on which camera to get, or whether I need both cameras. If it does have 4K 60p, that will be pretty incredible. Also the 20 frames per second as well, and it may, obviously, if it's going to have that type of sensor and processor on board, it probably will be much better in low light as well. So it's going to be really interesting. Now, the reason why they may be doing this is because of this X-T3 here, and they're saying that this camera is going to have rumoured to have 4K 60p, 10-bit and zebras. So they have improved what the camera will actually be. They're saying they're going to add zebra because of they couldn't do it before because of hardware constraints. The processor couldn't support it. It requires too much processing power, so it's going to be on this one for sure, they're saying. It's also going to have 4K 60p and 10-bit. They're still saying they're verifying if this is going to be internal. And zebras, obviously. So this is really interesting. They're saying that now Panasonic explains what's no good about IBIS. I think that's another article that's down there as well. So let me know, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a possibility? Clearly, if they are going to put the Z battery into this, and they are pushing files like putting 20 frames per second and 4K 60p, it's not going to work, I don't think, in the size of the standard camera that's out there already. It's going to be too small and you're going to have overheating issues. I do think if this has got 4K 60p, it is probably going to only go for something like 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. I can't see them giving us 4K 60p for 29 or 30 minutes. So that's going to be really interesting as well. But I did want to bring you this because I thought this is a really exciting announcement. Let me know down below whether you think this would be a great camera, or are you just going to hold out and wait for the A7S3? I think even if this is announced, I probably will still wait for the A7S3, which should be coming any time now as well. But once again, what a great time to be shooting Sony. So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Bye for now.